So this Discord channel has got some good conversations going. One of them is about the plastic that's visible when you cut into a 0.03mm poly system. Straight across line up here. I've never really had that problem. I assumed it would be a problem when I first started using poly, but it amazingly hasn't really affected me. There's some sweat and stuff going on. Bit of lifting here. I can't be bothered re-gluing all that. Just sweat related. But in terms of a piece of poly that's sticking down, that's what poly looks like on the back, right? 0.03mm of plastic here. Now, just so you're not distracted by the illusion, it might be a good idea to just place this against my forehead right now, so you can see exactly. Okay, so you see that lifting of the light, that line there. When you press it in with the glue, it really just dissolves into the skin. Let me try that again. I'll flip the camera so you get the better camera on the other side of this phone. Look at this. Okay, now I have no visibility of what's being filmed. Okay, so now with this camera, I'm going to give you an extreme close-up of what it's like to put this poly plastic against the skin of my forehead. Ready? So you see, shadow, 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 press it in, and where'd it go? Magic, where'd it go? Back again when lifting, shadow, and down. Lifting, down. It's magic. It's amazing. Now, people have talked about, see, a few years ago I spent hundreds of hours trying to find the solution to making the lace glue line disappear, and I eventually found this. It was a lot of hunting to find it. Now people are coming up to me in my videos and suggesting these things now. Things that years ago I discovered myself and published. And then there was talk, I suppose, and people wrote it. It's not like they found out who, I mean, I didn't invent this product. It's amazing. But I have very little doubt, given that it was never mentioned by anyone before, that I brought it to the community. No doubt whatsoever. So the real problem for me, if you're looking up here at this hairline, is glue and lifting, right? Still isn't a beautiful solution for that. If this poly plastic is hovering above the skin in any way, then you're not going to get a nice flush, seamless connection between skin and plastic. But once it's in position, I just don't see why people are getting plastic that's with a visible line straight across. The only thing that ever causes that for me is dirt. The bigger problem for me is the cornfield lines. They need to be eradicated. They're too straight. The best way to do it, as far as I can see, and some people now saying that they're able to, running experiments. I haven't seen any video or pictorial evidence yet, that you start with the blonde and then you dye it a millimeter above. It's very hard though, very hard. In fact, I just bet someone $200 they couldn't do it, and I've given them a month. Now they've suggested we do a live stream in which they amaze me with their skill. I don't know if they'll succeed. I'm willing to give them $200 if they do it. American, so that's about $270 for me. That's like 50% of my weekly money, basically. So I'll be eating baked beans that week. If they do it, but I reckon 99.9% they're gonna drip some dye in, or the roots of blonde will be too long. I said, if you achieve it, if you get between 1 to 2 millimeters root of pure blonde, no dye on the base, if you achieve that, obviously I need to set a parameter. I'm going to say you need to be able to do it within an hour, right? You're not going to do it, look at a 10 hour job, right? It needs to be the whole hairpiece as well, not just most of it or some of it with the splotches and stuff everywhere else. You need to do it in such a way that you know that you could fully start doing this with all hair pieces worldwide, so that it's a new process that can be used by hair companies or anybody else at home if they want to do it themselves. And it has to be a foolproof strategy with proper methodology that can be carried out by anybody. So it looks like we might be doing that live stream. I'm not sure if we will or not, but it would be good, because I mean, I've given them incentive, $200 for, there is a risk involved for them, but they were sort of claiming they could do it. So now I'm telling them to put their money where their mouth is. And if their mouth is accurate, I'll give them the money back, basically. Yeah, $200 for a blonde hairpiece, that'll cover it. So, yeah, I want to see them do it. What else has been discussed on Discord? By the way, join Discord if you can. Well, you can, so join it. Yeah, so there are some good conversations happening there. People are giving advice about what to buy, what works for them. And it's really good to be able to relate. For me, it's good to be able to relate and see people's photos and stuff as well. Yeah, the other thing is I exercised 2 days in a row. I went for long walks, and I feel like I can get out of the chair easier. So I might do that again today. I'm gonna have a shower first and then go for another long walk. And the sun's about to rise, because look, good time of day to wake up. I woke up at about 4:30, but still, it corresponds nicely with the time the birds get up. So I'm sort of on par with nature for the first time in a long time. So yeah, I got rid of all that weed I was growing in there. Looks like tomato plants are going pretty well though. Not that I expect to see any tomatoes anytime soon. So yeah, these cornfield lines, obviously this hairpiece has been bleached at the front. I'm gonna have a shower. Now, what I have ordered is an injection hairpiece that's on its way from China. I don't know what it would be like to have an injection hairpiece. Like V-loops are pretty shit and they result in those cornfield lines and all the rest of it. But at least you pull one and you could still have a second chance to like push it back in, you know, with a single strand just poked in with nothing holding it. It should shed like crazy, right? The other thing is, the warning that comes with injection hair is that it lies flat. You can't sort of brush it back because there's nothing to hold it if you bend it. It just wants to fall in the way it's stuck in. So it could be a problem, but there will not be cornfield lines. How could there be? Unless it's just all too parallel. I don't know what it's going to look like. And I mean, if you look at Keith Urban's haircut, his hairstyle is always down like that. Who knows if he's balding back here or not? You can't tell because it's always the same, right? He's just brushed forward, but he doesn't have any curls in his hair at all. It's just dead straight. And I'm sure he could just lift it up, put a bit of gel and just push it back a bit, right? It might work out. I mean, it could completely solve the problem of having to worry about blonde roots. But then again, if it's brush forward anyway, might as well just always have a brush forward look with poly or whatever, because with V-loops, because it doesn't, if you're not going to show it, then what does it matter if it's realistic or not? So why bother going with the injection stuff, which is rare to be able to purchase and has a problem with shedding? So I looked up what GSM means, and it means grams per square meter. Typical A4 paper, which is the standard world size document paper, except in America where you use letter size because you guys are not really part of the world. You have World Series baseball, it's all your world, not the rest of the world. The rest of the world is a world, and then there's America. It's like world, America. Anyway, this is 80 GSM. 80 GSM equates precisely to 0.06 millimeters thickness. I don't know how they figured that out, given it's a grams per square meter thing. If I scrunch this to a ball, it would still be 80 GSM, right? But they're saying on the internet that paper that's 80 GSM equals 0.06 millimeters thickness. So what's thinner paper than this? Well, like a receipt. You know, receipt paper that comes out in that roll? That'd be kind of thinner than this. That's probably 0.03 millimeters, or one of those very thin pages on a magazine. That's the sort of thickness they're talking about, which is astounding that it's not tearing all over the place, isn't it? And you've got to imagine, if it's 0.03 millimeters when it's finished, that means that they must be sewing by hand into something that's more like 0.015 millimeters thick. Because at the end, they've got to slap on some sort of plastic paste that dries and becomes the underside of this thing, which doubles it, right? So, yeah, I don't even know. These people who are stitching by hand these hairs into these things, amazing job. It's amazing that they're not tearing it. It's also amazing of the chemists who came up with this plastic that does not tear despite the very thin disposition. Yeah, I've still been putting more thought into getting a larger hairpiece. Not just yet though, for the reasons people have said. I mean, I've already got a year's supply cut already for the stencil size that I've got. There was another great comment on the, I'll try to think of some good comments I've been reading off Discord and off the comments on YouTube. One of them is for creating a very nice root system that's invisible. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to name the people who did it properly. I probably should, but I can't be bothered going back to the computer or break this video for me to do it. Okay, here's one, right? In order to get a really realistic blonde to brown transition and get really blonde roots, you don't go blonde with the hairpiece because it's too hard to get really close in to the base without dripping dye on it. So what you start, instead of starting with a 22 color blonde piece like the samples that I've been using, you start with a 7 or an 8, they said, which I assume is a very, very light brown. So if it's a very, very light brown, then you can start dyeing from, 1 centimeter, or they said an inch above. So it would therefore blend from light brown to dark brown, and then before you get much less visible roots down here. The problem is that doesn't circumvent the problem of the cornfield rose, does it? So we still got that problem. But they'd be less visible, wouldn't it? So not a bad solution. Another thing that I saw, for people who are wearing partials, they find it difficult to line up this perimeter here, and it's always flapping a bit, and they're trying to feel like a surgeon trying to get this glue in back here. And I said, well, it is too hard when you've got a tiny little bit of overhang here to just get a brush in there. You're gonna get hair, you're gonna get glue in all your hair. So you really have to peel it forward at least an inch and a half or something, have that plastic exposed, then glue on there so you've got access. Otherwise it's too hard. But they came up with another solution, which is have that connection point back here as a straight line, make your stencil straight at the back, which is probably what I should be doing. Because it doesn't really matter when hairs are all bunched over. There's no straightness back here. Nobody can see that. Not easily. Unless it's part of the haircuts and stuff. Anyway, if you make it straight across there, then you can easily line up a piece of tape right back there. And so that would be perfect when you're placing it down every time. Unfortunately, from my experience, tape has very little hold. But that perimeter there, it would be very easy to stick down with tape, right? Line it up, place the tape exactly, then flop the rest forward. Not a bad idea at all. Something else. Anyway, go into Discord, have a look, be part of the conversation. There's a lot happening there. There's more happening there with people being able to contribute because they can put links that you don't have to go and research, links that pass and become a little box in YouTube link or a photograph or even pictures of their own hairline, and they want advice about it. It's very much better than YouTube's comment section. If YouTube allowed lots of pictures and things in the comments, well, for a start off, I don't know if their servers could handle it, even though it's Google massive buildings worth of servers. But anyway, Discord is letting us do it. YouTube is not. So if you want to have conversations where you can put pictures and stuff, yeah, go onto Discord. It's going to be better. And the other thing is, you know, I'm a bit fat, right? And I don't like it. It's just been too long, right? You remember in Castaway how Tom Hanks couldn't get off the island because every time he did, his little raft got smashed because the waves kept pushing in. So it seemed impossible to escape. But if you just pulled the sail back at exactly the right amount of time with a gust of wind, it pushed through those waves and he was able to get the raft back out past those waves. So it does take a bit of a push from you to get out past the waves when you're trying to push yourself through, say, let's say motivation to lose weight. So that's what I'm doing now. I don't want to go for a walk. I want to sit down and play a computer game. I don't want to have a shower, but I have to for health reasons and for basically just life reasons. Just gotta have a shower, go for a walk outside the house, even if it's cold, even if it's raining. Put a raincoat on, get out. Now, I'm a hypocrite, but it's not like I'm saying you better do it. I'm saying you can do it, don't have to do it. The thing is, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years will pass by and you might stay overweight, like I have. Because I don't push myself at all. Sometimes I have a burst of motivation and I do it. Other times, well, most times I don't do anything at all. I just fucking sit there and eat donuts. Well, actually, I would love a donut. I don't want to sit down in front of a fireplace right now and eat a donut right now. That's what I want to do. Instead, I'm gonna have a fucking shower and go for a walk. I recommend you do the same. The effort of wearing a hairpiece is pretty high. Not as much as what women go through on a daily basis. Eyebrow plucking, pube plucking, leg hair plucking, underarm shaving, lipstick, fucking, you know, makeup all over the place. Think about the join. They've got to go from the neck to the face and make that look natural while still not getting makeup all over their clothes. This is fucking easy what we're dealing with. And like I talk about with men, if we're talking about a direct comparison of what another man would generally go through. So another man might decide to wear contact lenses, and that is harder than putting on a hairpiece. They're functional. I mean, without them, he's got to wear glasses or he's got to walk around with blurry vision. For us, hair wearers, it's just a matter of vanity, isn't it? There's no real useful purpose of the hair protecting you from a swarm of bees that are attacking you every day, and it's like, I've got hair now, I can defend myself. No, it's not, it's useless. You're just as protected in the world being bald as you are with hair. It's just about being treated better by people because you've got better looks. And you know that people, we don't have to use the word shallow because it's simply the way things are. You probably are more attracted to people who are better looking, right? No, I'm not saying emotionally or spiritually or some other thing attracted. I'm talking about visually attracted. If you were blind and everyone else was blind, you wouldn't care, right? It wouldn't matter. Shave your head, it's more useful. You don't have to worry about it. But in the world of people who can see, including you probably, because you're watching this video, unless you are blind and you're listening to this video, at any rate, hair is something that just grows out of your head, if you're not too bald. I don't want to have to describe all my videos for the blind, I'm sorry. It's probably something better for you to do. Listen to an audiobook, maybe. Anyway. Okay, look. We're doing it out of vanity. There's no fucking two ways about it. We're vain and we want to look better. Not vain to the extent that I love looking at myself in the mirror. I fucking hate it. I'm always like, oh shit, there's a mirror. I better go and check if there's a booger on my eyebrow or something. But yeah, I want to be higher than below average. You know what I mean? And I am below average now because of being overweight. So that's why I've got to push myself to care. Otherwise, I'm going to decline into old age, just be fat. And then maybe one day later on in the future, I'll say, all right, now it's time. It's like too late. It's never too late though, because you're still alive, aren't you? It's not ever better for you to be fat. Like if you're old and fat and bald, that's the trifecta, you lose, right? At least be fat and old. Don't be fat and bald and old. Or just be fat, not old, and not bald. Still not good. You're probably better off being just bald than just fat. Not really though, only in the short term. Because fat is easy to solve, isn't it? Not easy, bit of effort, but still more solvable than growing your hair back out of your head. It's a lot less effort to lose weight than grow your hair back. I mean, let me ask you this. If you could exercise and your hair would grow back, would you do it? That's... If vanity is a thing for me, surely I have to lose weight and not walk around with this double chin all the time. This gigantic freaking... What the hell is all this shit back here, right? I look like a melted candle. I'm sucking it in. I'm so used to sucking it in. That's where I'm at. My titties and everything. I feel like shit. I can never be bothered standing up either. And I went to lift myself up when I was playing with my niece the other day on the monkey bars and stuff. I was going to show her how it's easier to do a chin up. I couldn't lift myself up, and then I tore ligaments and shit in my arm. I was like, oh god, my arm's fucked now. Because I never use my body at all. Anyway, I've got to exercise. I've got to move in some way or other, right? I'm just saying, given that I'm saying this now to you, you should use this as motivation to get up out of your chair, not go to the next YouTube video immediately, just go around the house, at least stand up out of your chair and down, up and down 10 times. Do that now, go. I've got to go. I'm going to go exercise and not be as fat as I am now. Hopefully.